So this is going to be, I think, a really valuable teaching today. I have a video out on YouTube, I think on this channel, called Meisner versus Method, right? It's just an overview of the difference, the core difference between Sandy's approach and Lee's approach way back in the day. And it's an oversimplification. I know that there's a lot more to the method as well as the Meisner technique. But at its core, it had to do with the big divide between Sandy and Lee. It had to do with emotional memory. Which Lee was introduced to it from Stanislavski. He became fascinated with it, saw the value of it, and then became, in Sandy's words and others, became myopic with it. Almost obsessed to the point that this is what it was like his holy grail, was being able to use these memories from the past to connect to be able to either get your river going in a preparation or help you understand moments and scenes based on an as-if and previous experiences. But with Sandy really grew to be violently opposed to that approach. The tortured artist paradigm was not something that he wanted. He saw too many people taken out by having all of this pains and these wounds not processed and worked through. He wanted us to be healthy. He didn't want us to have these things that were still haunting and lingering us. In other words, there was really not a whole hell of a lot to go back to. I had my girlfriend and my best friend cheat on me. One night I lost the two closest people in my life. That was some time ago. Again, I think about it now, I giggle, but believe me, at the time it crushed me. And for a long time afterwards, it crushed me. And as actors, we often will go to these places where there's lingering emotions, pains, wounds, traumas, yeah? And again, in the Meisner technique, Sandy said, whatever works, use it. You want to use the wounds and pains of your past, go right ahead. If they're fresh enough, and this is the most important point, and this is really what today's is about, not only if they're fresh enough to be activated, in other words, there's still some juice there, right? But more importantly, that you're healthy enough to go there. We've talked about this on a couple other videos, but it had more to do with the work on in a film or on a role on stage, a character you're really working on that has to go to these deep, dark places. In the Meisner technique, during the training, when you make choices and you go to certain places during preparations to get your inner life going, to get that river going, you have one of two choices, using your imagination or the reality of your life. Third choice is a little bit of combination of both. Okay, what's the teaching? How do you release these emotions after the work? How do you recover after going to these places? And the answer is really simple and really important. If you go to a place, let's say it's rooted in reality, something very shitty happened to you a long time ago or recent, whatever, and you go and use that in your preparation, and the work's done and you're having trouble recovering, you shouldn't have gone there. You weren't ready to go there. And honestly, maybe you never should. And I really can't stress this enough. Sandy used to say this all the time. It's a play. It's supposed to be fun, even the tough choices. I have students all the time. They'll do beautiful work, deep work, painful work, gut-wrenching work, but they're incredibly healthy about it all. And when the work finishes, I'll say, how was that? And they're snot blowing out, and tears, and they've just been up there just pouring their hearts and souls out. And I'll go, okay, good, let's talk about that. How was that? And they'll look over and they go, oh, that was so much fun. That was great. It was wonderful. Because they understand, they've gone to places that in their imaginations they're able to go to, or the reality of their lives they're able to go to. So the real teaching, I just want to stress this, it's just so important that if you know that there's an area that is still raw, that is still troublesome, hell, even when you think about it, it starts to create angst. Leave that alone, man. Use your imagination. Come up with something else entirely. Again, I've taught this before, but here it is, right? I went through a breakup a little while ago, and it was tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. And the last thing in the world I wanted to do was use that in my work. I didn't want to prepare. I could go. I mean, I could. If I went there, it would be effective. It would. If I daydreamed about this person, picturing this person with somebody else during the initial breakup when it was so raw, picturing this person doing shitty, horrible things, real or imagined, whatever. Would it have an impact on me? Yes, it would. But the best way I can describe it is, this is my real life. This is real. And I felt like I was in the river with barbed wire wrapped around me. And I'm trying to get untangled and out of this whirlpool of a river that I'm drowning in, to get to the bank, to get onto the side, to start crawling and walking and then running in that direction. I don't want to go back there. It wasn't healthy for me to prepare on that, and I knew that. So the things that I prepare on, the places that I go to, and the things that I use to get my inner life going, I know that I'm able to go there. Now, sometimes there's a trial and error, and my best advice would that be, because if there's an area that you're like, maybe, I think I am, but I'm not sure, then just don't go, take a smaller bite of it. Sneak up on it a little bit. Don't have it be the whole thing. Just put your tiptoes in the shallow end of that experience or in your imagination that parallels that. Again, let's say somebody, let's say you're in a horrible car accident, right? Shit, man. I mean, that's the PTSD around that, and the trauma around that. It's something that most likely you shouldn't touch. But maybe there's an element of just somebody driving recklessly, so you're coming in to confront them over something, and you choose that they were, last night on a date, they were driving, this is your boyfriend or girlfriend, and they were driving recklessly, and you told them to slow down and they wouldn't. And the more you sit with that and you marinate on that, and if it starts to become too much and you're trying it on for size prior to class, if it starts to become too much, I say back off. The most important thing is your mental, emotional health. Sandy once said actors are not emotional guinea pigs to be dissected by amateur psychologists. That's one of the problems he had with so much of these people that really just take emotional memory, a component of the method. And I've seen workshops all over this planet of people just doing that, weekend exercises of taking people through this, the cathartic walkthrough of their wounds and their pains. And look, if you feel, do whatever you want. But I personally, it's not something I would ever do. And more importantly, it should always be fun, okay? I hope that helps. Any questions off this, reach out, okay? We'll answer them. All right, we'll see you soon.